The massive alien ship glided through space like a crystal cathedral, its walls glowing with soft blue light. Commander Veltar floated in the control room, his body made of shimmering gas that changed colors with his emotions. Right now, he was bright gold with excitement. "Show me the star map again," he said to the ship's computer. A holographic display appeared in the air, showing a small yellow star with several planets orbiting around it. One planet was highlighted in red, the third one from the star. Sol 3. The computer announced in a voice that sounded like singing crystals. The ancient home of the first makers. Veltar's form flickered with joy. For 3,000 years, his people had searched the galaxy for the legendary beings who had created all life among the stars. These first makers were said to be gods, beings of pure energy and infinite wisdom who had disappeared long ago after seeding the universe with intelligent life. Around him, representatives from 12 different alien civilizations stood ready. The Nexus Collective had sent their best robot minds, tall silver beings with glowing red eyes and computer brains. The harmonics looked like living crystals that could bend reality with their thoughts. The Luminals were pure energy beings who could read minds and share consciousness across vast distances. They had all come together for this moment. They were going to meet their creators. "How long until we reach the planet?" asked Unit Prime 7, the leader of the robot delegation. His voice sounded like electronic music. 6 hours, replied the ship's computer. All ships in the fleet are maintaining perfect formation. Veltar looked out through the transparent walls of his ship at the other vessels traveling with them. 47 ships in total, each one representing the finest technology their civilizations could create. Some ships looked like giant flowers made of metal. Others were perfect spheres that seemed to be made of liquid light. Few appeared to be living creatures swimming through space. It was the largest peaceful gathering in galactic history. Far below on the blue planet they were approaching, Dr. Kim Jamin sat in a secret room deep underground beneath Sol. The room was filled with computers and screens showing pictures of the alien fleet. He was a small, quiet man with gray hair and tired eyes, but his hands moved quickly across the control panels. 47 ships, he said to himself, counting them again. All different designs. We've never seen anything like this. Dr. Parksora sat beside him, her eyes wide with wonder as she studied the alien vessels. She was younger than Dr. Kim, with short black hair and excited eyes. She specialized in studying alien life forms, though until today, she had only worked with theories and computer models. "They're so beautiful," she whispered. "Look at that one that looks like a crystal flower, and that one that seems to be made of pure light. Do you think they're really peaceful?" Dr. Kim's expression was serious. "Beauty can be dangerous, Sora. We've been preparing for this day for 30 years. We can't let our guard down just because they look pretty." He pressed a button on his console. "All stations, this is Dr. Kim. The visitors have arrived. Begin Operation Prometheus immediately." Across the planet, hidden facilities received the message. The mountains of Korea, underground bases powered up their weapons. In the oceans, submarines that looked like whales moved into position. Space, satellites that appeared to be simple communication devices began scanning the alien fleet with instruments the visitors couldn't detect. Back on the alien flagship, Commander Veltar was puzzled by what his sensors were showing him. Planet below looked primitive. He could see cities, but they weren't made of the crystal and energy he expected from a world inhabited by gods. Instead, he saw simple buildings made of concrete and metal. The inhabitants seemed to use basic technology, chemical rockets, radio, waves, and nuclear power. "This is strange," he said to his science officer, Kethan. "Where are the quantum spires? Where are the consciousness networks? This planet looks almost ... backward." Kethan, who looked like a jellyfish made of starlight, pulsed with confusion. "Perhaps the first makers are hiding. Maybe these surface dwellers are just servants or guardians." "That must be it," Veltar agreed. "The true gods wouldn't want to reveal themselves immediately. You must be patient and respectful." But deep in the Pacific Ocean, Colonel Lee Dong-soo watched the alien fleet through the periscope of a submarine that the visitors' sensors couldn't detect. His submarine used technology that wouldn't be invented for another 50 years. according to what the aliens believed about Earth's capabilities. They think we're primitive, he reported to his commanders. They're scanning us, but they're only seeing what we want them to see. The aliens had traveled across the galaxy expecting to find gods waiting for them. Instead, they had found Earth sleeping. But Earth wasn't really sleeping. Earth was hunting, and it had been preparing for this hunt for decades. The visitors just didn't know it yet. The alien ships arranged themselves in a perfect circle around Earth's moon, like jewels on an invisible necklace. Each vessel held its exact position without any visible effort, a display of technology that would have amazed any truly primitive species. Commander Veltar pressed his gaseous form against the observation window of his flagship, staring down at the blue and white planet below. "It's so small," he murmured to himself, "and so ordinary-looking." His science officer, Keithon, floated beside him like a jellyfish made of glowing starlight. She had been scanning the planet for hours, and her findings were disappointing. "Sir, I'm detecting cities with millions of inhabitants, but their technology appears very basic. They use fossil fuels for energy, metal and concrete for construction, and chemical rockets for space travel." Veltar's golden form flickered with confusion. "But the ancient star maps clearly point to this world. The first makers must be here somewhere." Unit Prime 7, the robot representative from the Nexus Collective, approached them with mechanical precision. His red eyes glowed brighter as he processed the data. "Perhaps we are thinking about this incorrectly. The surface dwellers may simply be caretakers or maintenance workers. The true gods could be hidden in another dimension, or deep underground, or in a form we cannot yet detect." "That would make sense," agreed Veltar. "The first makers wouldn't want to reveal themselves to just anyone. We must prove we are worthy." Far below on Earth, President Kim Min-ho stood in a room that didn't officially exist. The Sol Command bunker was buried 300 meters underground, hidden beneath layers of concrete and steel. The room was filled with screens showing data from around the world and surrounded by the most important people in the Korean government and military. An aide rushed up to the president with a tablet computer. "Sir, we've received their message. It's been translated into 20 different languages simultaneously." President Kim took the tablet and read the message. His face remained calm, but his eyes grew hard. The aliens called themselves the Galactic Confederation of Enlightened Races. They said they had come looking for the first makers. They offered to uplift humanity in exchange for access to what they called sacred knowledge. "They think we're stupid," said General Park Hyun-woo, the head of Korea's Special Defense Corps. He was a tall man, with scars on his hands from years of military service. "I think we're just primitive servants, guarding someone else's treasure." "President." Kim nodded slowly. "Good. Let them keep thinking that. The longer they underestimate us, the better our chances." He turned to Dr. Kim Jamin, who was monitoring the alien fleet from his computer stations. "How long until our orbital platforms are ready?" 6 hours, Mr. President," Dr. Kim replied. "The aliens' own ships are actually helping us. Their gravitational fields are so strong that we can use them to calibrate our targeting systems with perfect accuracy." "Excellent. The decoy satellites, all in position. When they try to disable our communications, they'll only hit the fake ones. Our real communication network will remain completely operational." Back on the alien flagship, the Confederation leaders were growing impatient. Had sent their message to Earth's government 6 hours ago, and the response had been disappointing. The surface dwellers claimed they didn't know anything about any first makers. They said they were just ordinary people living on an ordinary planet. "This is clearly a test," announced Veltar to the assembled alien commanders. "The first makers want to see if we will treat their servants with respect and patience." "Perhaps we need to demonstrate our power," suggested the harmonic representative, a being that looked like a living crystal sculpture. "Not to harm them, but to show them we are worthy of meeting their masters." Unit Prime 7's electronic voice buzzed with agreement. "A gentle show of force might encourage cooperation. We could disable some of their primitive technology," Veltar decided. "We'll turn off their satellites and power stations. It's nothing that will hurt anyone, just enough to get their attention." As the alien energy beams reached out toward Earth, they struck exactly what they were aiming for. Satellites went dark across the planet. Power grids failed in major cities. Television broadcasts stopped working. The aliens watched with satisfaction. As humans appeared to panic in the streets, but in the hidden facilities around the world, human observers smiled. Lieutenant Colonel Cho Minjin, stationed at the Jeju Island monitoring station, watched the alien weapons hit their targets with perfect accuracy. They took the bait, he reported to his commanders. All decoy satellites destroyed. Primary communication systems still fully operational. Excellent, came the reply from Dr. Lee Soo-jin at the Busan Research Center. Begin Phase 2. Show them what they want to see. Across Earth, carefully planned riots began in major cities. Actors pretended to be panicked civilians. Stuntmen staged fake accidents. Special effects teams created realistic-looking explosions and fires. To the aliens watching from orbit, it appeared that Earth's primitive civilization was collapsing under the pressure of their technological demonstration. The aliens nodded with satisfaction. Surely now the primitives would cooperate and reveal the location of their hidden masters. But deep in the shadows, something else was beginning to stir. Something the aliens had not expected and were not prepared for. The alien commanders gathered. In the crystal chamber of their flagship, their patience finally exhausted. For 3 days, they had waited for Earth's governments to respond to their generous offer. Instead, the primitive surface dwellers had sent back a message that confused and angered them. "We reject your demands," the human transmission had said in multiple languages. "Earth belongs to humanity. We will not surrender our world to anyone." Commander Veltar's gaseous form turned from gold to angry red. "They dare refuse us. These primitive creatures think they can defy the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy?" Uniprime 7's mechanical voice crackled with electronic irritation. "Perhaps they need a stronger demonstration of our capabilities, something that will make them understand the futility of resistance." "Agreed," Veltar decided. "Target their power plants. Destroy their ability to generate electricity. When they are sitting in the dark, they will be more willing to listen to reason." The alien energy weapons charged with a sound like singing crystals. Beams of concentrated light reached down from the ships in orbit, striking power generation facilities. Across Earth, nuclear plants, solar farms, wind turbines, and coal stations exploded in brilliant flashes of light. The aliens watched with satisfaction as entire regions of the planet went dark. But something was wrong. Instead of panic and surrender, the aliens detected something they had never seen before in any species they had conquered: unified resistance. Across the planet, humans were not begging for mercy. They were preparing to fight back in the Taebaek Mountains of Korea. Deep inside a facility that looked like a simple mining operation, Colonel Kim Tae-young received a message on a communication device that shouldn't have existed. The device used quantum entanglement to send messages instantly across any distance, technology that was supposed to be impossible for Earth's primitive civilization. "All defense platforms report ready status," came the voice from the other end. "The charade is over." Colonel Kim smiled for the first time in days. He was tired of pretending to be helpless while aliens destroyed his world. "About time," he said. "Signal all units. Operation Prometheus is now active." Around him, soldiers who had been hiding in the mountain bunker for weeks began removing covers from equipment the aliens had never seen. Major Park G1, a tough woman with short black hair, checked the charge on her plasma rifle. The weapon hummed with barely contained energy. "I'm tired of pretending we're helpless," she muttered. "Let's show these aliens what humans can really do." Above Earth's surface, structures that the aliens had dismissed as primitive technology suddenly began to change. The International Space Station, which the aliens thought was just a simple research facility, started extending hidden panels. What emerged were weapon systems that made the aliens' sensors scream warnings. Communication towers across the continents began moving, their dish antennas rotating and reconfiguring. The aliens had thought these were simple radio transmitters. In reality, they were targeting systems for weapons platforms the aliens had never detected. In Europe, It's a Large Hadron Collider, which the aliens believed was just a scientific research device, began emitting energy signatures that made their most advanced sensors go wild with alarm. The massive underground ring was powering up systems that violated several laws of physics as the aliens understood them. Dr. Choi Woo-jin stood in the control room of the Andong facility, watching displays that showed the alien fleet in perfect detail. He was a quiet man who had spent his entire career preparing for this moment. His team of scientists and engineers had worked in secret for 30 years, developing weapons that could fight beings who traveled between stars. "Sir," said his assistant, Dr. Lee Min-jin, "all quantum cascade generators are ready for activation." Dr. Choi smiled grimly. "Then let's show them what Earth's fury really looks like." He pressed a button on his control panel. Across the planet, hidden facilities that the aliens had never detected began powering up. Weapons that had been disguised as mountains, lakes, and forests revealed themselves. Energy readings that made the aliens' most advanced technology look primitive began appearing on their sensors. On the alien flagship, Science Officer Keithon's starlight form flickered with panic. "Sir, I'm detecting massive energy buildups across the planet. These readings are impossible. They indicate technology levels far beyond what we observed." Commander Veltar's form turned from red to pale yellow with fear. "That cannot be correct." "Run the scans again." "Sir, I've run them 12 times. The surface dwellers have been hiding technology that is more advanced than our own. We've been deceived." Across the alien fleet, commanders were receiving similar reports. The primitive planet they had come to conquer was revealing weapons and defenses that shouldn't exist. Energy signatures that suggested the humans had been studying alien technology for decades. Quantum computers that could calculate faster than the Nexus Collective's best machines. "This is impossible," whispered Unit Prim 7. "How could we have been so wrong?" The answer came in the form of humanity's first strike. Energy beams more focused than anything the aliens possessed reached up from Earth's surface, striking 3 Confederation ships simultaneously. The vessel's shields, designed to protect against any known weapon, collapsed instantly. For the first time in 3,000 years of galactic conquest, the aliens realized they had made a terrible mistake. Earth wasn't hiding gods. Earth was hiding something much more dangerous, a species that had spent decades preparing for war. The battle began quietly, with no explosions or dramatic music. Instead, it started with the soft hum of quantum drives powering up all across the solar system. Objects that had been floating in space for months, looking like harmless rocks and broken satellites, suddenly came alive. Admiral Kim Yansu stood in the command center of a secret base built inside Ganymede, one of Jupiter's largest moons. She was a calm woman with gray hair and steady hands, but her eyes burned with determination. Through the massive viewing window, she could see the alien fleet near Earth, their beautiful ships arranged in perfect formation. "Status report," she said quietly. "All units are in position, Admiral," replied her communications officer. 312 vessels ready for combat." The aliens had no idea they were surrounded. What they thought was empty space was actually filled with human warships that had been hiding for years, ships disguised as asteroids, weapons platforms that looked like space junk. Even some of Earth's satellites were actually heavily armed combat vessels. "All units, this is Admiral Kim," she broadcast on the Quantum Communication Network. "Operation Tartarus is now active. Show them what we learned from studying their own broadcasts." The aliens had made a terrible mistake during their journey to Earth. They had been transmitting constantly, sending messages between their ships and talking to their home worlds. They thought the primitive humans couldn't understand their advanced communications. They were wrong. For months, human scientists led by Dr. No Jae-hoon had been listening to every alien transmission. They had decoded the aliens' languages, studied their technology, and learned their military tactics. By the time the aliens reached Earth, humans knew everything about them. Their weapons work by manipulating energy, reported Captain Lee Haejin. From the bridge of the destroyer, Indomitable. His ship had been hiding behind an asteroid for 3 months, waiting for this moment. but they've never fought against simple kinetic weapons accelerated to 15% of light speed. The human strategy was brilliantly simple. While the aliens had developed incredibly advanced energy weapons and shields, they had forgotten about the most basic principle of warfare. Sometimes the simplest weapon is the most effective. Human. Ships began firing tungsten rods, simple metal bars weighing several tons each. These rods were accelerated by magnetic rails until they were moving at incredible speeds. When they hit their targets, they carried more destructive force than nuclear weapons. The aliens' energy shields were designed to deflect laser beams and plasma bolts. They had never been tested against chunks of metal moving at 15% of light speed. The shields might as well have been made of paper. The first human salvo struck 3 alien vessels simultaneously. The tungsten rods punched through their shields and holes like bullets through tissue paper. The beautiful crystal ships cracked and split, their crews dying before they even understood what had hit them. Commander Veltar's gaseous form flickered with panic as his flagship shuddered under impact. What was that? Our sensors didn't detect. Any energy weapons? Sir? Reported Science Officer Keithan, her starlight form pulsing with fear. They're using kinetic projectiles. Simple metal rods accelerated to incredible speeds. Our shields can't stop them. That's impossible. No civilized species uses such primitive weapons. But the humans weren't finished. As the alien fleet tried to reorganize, more objects throughout the solar system revealed themselves. A space station near Mars extended weapon arrays. An asteroid mining facility near Venus began launching missiles. Even some of the satellites orbiting Earth opened up to reveal hidden gun turrets. Captain Park Minjum, commanding the stealth ship Ghost, smiled as he watched the alien confusion. His vessel had been following the alien fleet for weeks, disguised as a piece of space debris. They still don't understand, he said to his crew. They think we're primitive because we use kinetic weapons. They don't realize that sometimes the old ways are the best ways. The aliens tried to fight back, but their situation was hopeless. They had been designed to fight other energy-based civilizations. Their weapons were precise and elegant, but they took time to charge and aim. The human weapons were crude, but devastatingly effective. More importantly, the aliens were outnumbered. Their 47 ships faced over 300 human vessels, and more were decloaking every minute. Ships emerged from hiding places behind moons and planets. Weapons platforms that had been disguised as research stations opened fire. Even some of Earth's primitive space rockets revealed themselves to be armed missiles. Sir, Unit Prime 7 reported to Commander Veltar, we're receiving reports from across the galaxy. Our colonies and bases are under simultaneous attack. The humans somehow have agents everywhere. This was the most shocking revelation of all. For decades, humans had been infiltrating alien civilization. They had sent agents to every major alien world disguised as refugees, traders, or diplomats. These agents had been studying alien technology, mapping their defenses. And preparing for this moment, the galaxy's most advanced civilizations had been completely deceived. By the primitive species they had come to conquer, Earth hadn't been hiding gods. Earth had been hiding the most dangerous predator the galaxy had ever seen. A species that had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of war. The aliens were learning a hard lesson. Sometimes the hunter becomes the hunted. 6 months had passed since the aliens first arrived at Earth, and the galaxy was a completely different place. The mighty Galactic Confederation no longer existed. Their beautiful fleets were destroyed or captured. Their survivors lived in refugee camps on distant planets at the edge of the galaxy, far from their former homes. President Kim Min-ho stood on the observation deck of a ship that had once belonged to the Zephyrians. The crystal walls still glowed. With soft light, but now human technicians worked at the control stations. The ship that had once been called Transcendence now served as Earth's mobile embassy, traveling from planet to planet to establish humanity's new rule in front of the president. The former leaders of the Alien Confederation waited in special containment fields. These energy cages were designed by human scientists specifically to hold different types of alien beings. Commander Veltar's gaseous form swirled inside a field that kept him from escaping. while Unit Prime 7's mechanical body was held by magnetic restraints. "You came to our world expecting to find gods," President Kim said. His voice translated into dozens of alien languages by quantum computers. "Instead, you found something far more dangerous, a species that has spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of war." Commander Veltar's form flickered from its usual gold to a dull gray color. He had learned that this meant sadness and regret among his people. "We made a terrible mistake," he admitted. "We thought you were primitive. Your technology seems so crude compared to ours." "Our technology was exactly what we wanted you to see," replied Admiral Kim Yonsu, who now commanded the largest military force in galactic history. "While you built beautiful ships and perfect societies, we built weapons. While you explored the cosmos seeking enlightenment, we prepared for the day someone would threaten our home." The truth was simple, but devastating. While the aliens had spent thousands of years creating art, music, and philosophy, humans had been fighting wars. Every human conflict, from ancient battles with swords and spears to modern warfare with nuclear weapons, had taught them something new about combat. By the time they reached the stars, humans were the most experienced warriors in the galaxy. "But how did you hide so much from us?" asked Kethin, the jellyfish-like science officer. "Our sensors should have detected your true capabilities." Dr. Park Sora, now serving as Earth's Minister of Alien Affairs, smiled as she answered. "We've been preparing for this meeting for 50 years. Ever since we first detected alien signals from space, we knew that someday someone would come to Earth. We decided to be ready. We created fake technology for you to see," explained Dr. Kim Jamin, who had been promoted to head of Human Intelligence Services. "We built primitive-looking rockets while hiding our real spacecraft. We transmitted simple radio signals while using quantum communication networks. We even built fake cities and showed you actors pretending to be ordinary civilians." The reorganization of galactic civilization happened quickly and efficiently. Human administrators, protected by the most powerful military force in known space, traveled to every inhabited world. They established new trade routes that benefited Earth. They created new laws that put humans in charge. They built new hierarchies with humanity at the top. Some alien species accepted the new order immediately. The Harmonics, who could manipulate reality with their crystal bodies, agreed to teach humans their abilities in exchange for protection. The Luminals, beings made of pure energy, shared their consciousness-bridging technology. These species were treated well by their human administrators. Other species tried to resist. They organized rebellions, formed resistance movements, and attempted to fight back against human rule. These species were eliminated quickly and completely. Human warships appeared in their solar systems, and within days, their civilizations ceased to exist. "We don't want to be cruel," President Kim explained to the captured alien leaders, "but we will not tolerate threats to human security. Any species that tries to fight us will be destroyed. Any species that accepts human leadership will be protected and allowed to prosper." On Earth, new monuments were built to celebrate humanity's victory. The Soul Defense Memorial honored the scientists who had spent decades developing secret weapons. The Busan Intelligence Center celebrated the spies who had infiltrated alien civilizations. The Jeju Command Complex became a museum showing how humans had prepared for galactic conquest. Children in schools across the human empire learned a new lesson. They expected to find gods. But instead, they found Earth's fury. The story became a warning to any species that might consider challenging human rule. Commander Veltar looked out through the crystal walls of his former flagship at the stars beyond. "What will happen to us now?" he asked quietly. "That depends on you," President Kim replied. "Species that cooperate with human rule will be allowed to live peacefully. Species that cause trouble will be eliminated. The choice is yours." The galaxy's new rulers had made their position clear. Humanity had claimed its place as the dominant species in the universe, and they intended to keep it. The age of human expansion had begun, and it would continue until every star in the galaxy flew the flag of Earth. The aliens had come looking for gods, but they had awakened something far more dangerous, a species that never stopped fighting, never stopped learning, and never stopped winning.